And Facebook post brought back a lot of old memories about growing up during the Cold War. It also raised some questions about the safety of the American public because of the current tensions between the United States and North Korea. And all of that is the topic of a Chris 6 News special report tonight. The doomsday clock, which represents the threat of global nuclear war, is now just 2.5 minutes from midnight, with midnight marking the end of the human race. It has not been that close since 1953, when the U.S. and the old Soviet Union began testing hydrogen bombs. A big part of the rising threat is being driven by North Korea's push to develop nuclear weapons and missiles that are capable of reaching American soil, and President Trump's warning that he will not tolerate such a threat.
No nation on earth has an interest in seeing this band of criminals arm itself with nuclear weapons and missiles.
But the threat of nuclear annihilation was a fact of life for Americans who grew up in the 1950s and 60s. And we were reminded of that recently when this 1965 newspaper clipping listing all the public fallout shelters here in Corpus Christi was posted on Facebook. It prompted memories of all the old civil defense announcements on television and the training films that we watched at school.
It's a bomb. Duck and cover.
Now, back then, the government provided fully stocked public fallout shelters.
These people are occupying a shelter which contains those supplies which are furnished by the federal government. The food is nutritious. The water is pure. Each occupant has room enough to sleep.
Signs like this one used to be pretty common all over America. You saw them in public schools, libraries, churches, big buildings, but they began to disappear after the old Soviet Union collapsed and the Cold War came to an end. So if you're old enough to remember one of these, when's the last time you saw one? The old City Hall on Shoreline had a fallout shelter, but that building is long gone and there's nothing there now but a parking lot. There are also public shelters in the basements of large buildings all over town, like Incarnate Word Academy, the Mount Carmel Home for the Aged, and other locations that are now mostly gone. Billy Delgado, the city's emergency management coordinator, says when the Cold War ended, there was a major shift away from civil defense and a new focus on emergency response and preparedness.
It's called the National Response Framework. Preparedness, education, training, drills. So that's basically what the nation does.
Now, pamphlets and publications like these advising on what to do in the event of a nuclear war used to be widely distributed. Today, that type of information is still available, but you have to look for it. Now, 60 years ago, in the event of a nuclear attack, the city's plan was to have citizens go to the nearest public fallout shelter. Mr. Delgado says the plan now is to have folks shelter in place. And it's also your responsibility to be ready to do that.
Do you have your items ready? Do you have a kit? Do you have flashlights? Do you have all the items that you would need if you have to shelter in place? So that's very important.
Another option is to build and stock your own fallout shelter. Now, those were surprisingly popular back in the 50s and 60s, and they are still available today. A basic family shelter like this one can be had for as little as $36,000. And for a little more than twice that, you can purchase a fully furnished shelter. And if money is no object, $2 million will buy you an entire floor in a converted missile silo like this one in Kansas. And that also includes access to amenities like a swimming pool and even a library. Not a bad way to ride out the end of the world. Now, if you'd like to know more about being prepared for a nuclear catastrophe, you'll find plenty of information online. Just go to a government website called ready.gov. There's a whole section there on what to do in the event of a nuclear blast. You'll also find a wealth of information on how to deal with other types of emergency situations, everything from active shooter incidents to earthquakes.